Sports. I want to welcome to the show writer at the Deadspin, Criss Partee. Criss, what's up, bro?
Trey, what's happening, dog?
How are you this afternoon?
Oh man, I'm just hanging, getting ready for this game on Sunday. We're less than 48 hours away now. So man, I'm ready to go. I'm ready.
Yeah.
Real quick, sorry, I hate to interrupt you. I just want to give your Packers their props that I have not been back on to give the Packers their props for the season. I picked the Cowboys in that game a few weeks back now, and the Packers proved me and a lot of other people wrong. So I want to give them their credit, and if not for a couple of bounces the wrong way, they could be in this game this Sunday. So good job, but you guys
don't remind me, Criss.
Y'all got something good going there. Y'all are building. I'll give you that.
Yeah, don't remind me of that, Criss. Though I don't want to. I don't want to hear that, man. I'm already depressed, Criss. I have to watch this Super Bowl, Criss, and it's the thing. So I respect the hell out of Patrick Mahomes, and I even respect the 49ers, right? But as a Packers fan, it hurts because we already beat the Chiefs this year, and we were in perfect position to beat them damn 49ers. And real quick, Criss, I'm gonna bring on one of my guys, probably two of my guys here shortly. They 49er fan. They 49er fans.
Oh man. Okay.
Yeah, they 49. Yeah, I'm gonna bring them on with us. Hopefully they can both tap in. It's my man Christian and Brian. So they both big time 49er fans, right? But man, I'm gonna be depressed watching this Super Bowl, Criss, because it's a lose-lose for me. Because for years, I was always telling my family and friends, oh, Aaron Rodgers is better than Patrick Mahomes. He's better than Patrick Mahomes. He's better. And so we were in position, Criss, to win Super Bowls with Aaron Rodgers multiple times. Aaron Rodgers should damn sure be back in the Super Bowl. And hold on, let me real quick. Hold on, Criss. Hold on.
Yeah.
Want to welcome to the show my man and big time 49er fan, Christian Bradley. Christian, what's up?
What's going on?
Nothing much, man. I brought you in with me and my man Criss, man. Criss, man. He a writer for Deadspin. We're gonna talk some football, and I was just telling Christian, that we was just talking about the Super Bowl matchup and stuff, and so I was telling Criss about how this Super Bowl it's a lose-lose for me, because for years I had to hear about how Mahomes was better than Rodgers, and I thought Rodgers should have another Super Bowl by now, and I had to come to terms with Mahomes being better. Then I also have to deal with the fact that them damn 49ers, they're the reason why the Aaron Rodgers didn't get back to a Super Bowl. Them alone. Yeah. It's just them. It's just them. Big part of it. It's just them damn 49ers. So I can't stand the 49ers, and I respect Mahomes, but I'm not a fan, so that's a lose-lose for me. I'm ready to I hope the game ended in a tie. I wouldn't mind if it ended in a tie Sunday, to be honest.
You're probably the only person in the world rooting for a tie. With all these gamblers out here, nobody's rooting for a tie.
A tie?
Man, I'm not a fan of either team, obviously.
I mean,
man,
that's just ridiculous. But I don't understand why you. I don't understand that at all. That kind of gives me pause that you would.
I'm bitter, Criss. I'm bitter.
Yeah, you sound like it. I am. And I've been trying to tell you this for years. I mean, we have bounced the Packers at the playoffs. I would have said I could think of maybe 3 times.
Yeah, it happened.
99. 99. With the catch too. Sent Brett Favre home, and then we sent Aaron Rodgers home every year he's faced us in the playoffs. So that's been amazing to see in my lifetime. And
with that whole rivalry, it kind of flipped because I'm just saying with that whole rivalry with the Niners Packers, if you go back to the mid 90s, the Packers kind of had the Niners number.
Yeah.
A few times there. And then we got into the new millennium or towards the end of the 90s, and then it kind of started flipping, and then you got into the time with Harbaugh and those guys, and the Packers just couldn't do nothing. Since then, really the last 10, 12 years, the Packers haven't been able to do much with the Niners.
At all.
They just haven't. They haven't been able to, for whatever reason, the Niners, no matter who the quarterback is, really, it seems, they just can't do anything with the Niners. They can beat other teams. They can't beat the Niners, though.
And to your point, Brett Favre was 4-1 against the Niners. 4-1.
I'm saying, he had their number.
4-1, and the one loss, Christian, you alluded to it. That's when T.O. had that. Oh my God, that broke my heart.
Oh, the catch,
that was
catch number 2, the second catch.
That was one of the greatest playoff catches I ever seen. One of the greatest. What you gonna say, Christian?
Yeah, I mean, I remember my freshman year of college when that happened. So when that catch happened, so I mean, I have very vivid memories of that catch. And I mean, because T.O. dropped everything that catch. He dropped the fumble, dropped
my
everything,
God.
and it kind of alludes, I kind of alludes to my quarterback with Brock Purdy's. In this last game against the Packers, he didn't play well. Obviously, talking about conditions, you can talk about the field, the condition on the field, and Jordan loved to have a good game either. I think it was some chunk plays that happened, but when my quarterback needed to get it done, he marched down the field and sent y'all sad butts home. So I mean, that's what happens.
Okay, I feel you. I get it. We was right there. We'll be back. We'll be back. We will be back.
Y'all been right there for a long time. Y'all was right there 2 years ago in the Tundra game when Debo's got that first down and Robbie Gold sent y'all home. Y'all was right there. Y'all was right there. I mean, y'all been right there for a long time. Y'all been right there.
It is a difference though, Christian. It's a difference though, because I'm gonna be honest. Like, and I think, Chris, man, you can understand where I'm coming from when I say this. I love Aaron Rodgers, all-time great, one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. Aaron Rodgers was toxic. We had a toxic relationship with A-Rod. Jordan Love is a breath of fresh air. We got a young team. Definitely. We got a young team. It's a little bit different, man. Like, yeah, it's a little bit different. But let's get to the Super Bowl. So it's Super Bowl 53. Sure. Super Bowl 53. Yep. Niners favored by a point and a half.
2.5.
Yep. 2.5. Over under 47.5. Let's go. I'll go to you, Christian, first, because I know your 49ers in the Super Bowl. As a fan, this is a great experience. What are your expectations for Super Bowl 53?
I expect we're a better team. I think we're a better team with a better roster than KC. However, you have a quarterback who's an all-time great, but coaches are all-time great. So we can't start off slow the way we did the last 2 weeks. We can't start off slow. You can't give a 24-7 lead to Patrick Mahomes. You can't be down. You can't start off slow. The defense has to play. My defense has to play. And the 2019 Super Bowl, the defense played very well, and then we obviously had a couple of miscues from Jimmy, and I think that so again, to my point, I think that we can win the game. I'm not speaking as a fan, I'm speaking as a football savant. I really feel like we're a better football team. But Patrick Mahomes finds a way, man. You can't get that guy breathing room. You have to suffocate him. You have to make sure that he is uncomfortable. And if we can just do what we did at the beginning, the first 55 minutes of 2019, if we can do that to him the first 55 minutes and continue doing that through the 60 minutes, we will be Super Bowl champions. If my defense play like it played against Detroit in the first half, we will not be. We will not come back 24/7 down to Mahomes. It won't happen. It won't happen. So because he needs to play.
And that's kind of what I was going to piggyback off of the defense, because the strong point of this Niners team for the past 5 years, the strongest unit is just overall is the defense. The defense has been their calling card. Now, obviously, they have Christian McCaffrey now on offensively, and that helps a lot. But if the run defense specifically, and Kansas City is not really known as a running team, although they've been able to run it a little better this second half of the season, especially in the playoffs too. If the Niners run defense can't get it together, it's going to be a long day, because then you also got to deal with Patrick Mahomes and all the wizardry that Patrick can do. If I'm Kyle Shanahan, if I'm the Niners, I'm going to ride Christian McCaffrey. It's the last game of the season. I know during most of his career he's been injury prone, but this is the Super Bowl. You got to ride that pony right there. You got to ride that horse, ride him to. Now, I'm not saying it needs to be all running, but he's a dual threat. You got to ride him. If the game has to be solely, and I don't think it will be, obviously, this is not really the Niners' MO, but solely on Brock Purdy, and I think Brock Purdy is good. I think he's a little more than a game manager, how people are trying to make him out to be. But if it has to be solely on him offensively, like you said, if the Niners fall behind, you're not going to win that game. I don't see them coming back from even honestly, even 17-7 down to the Chiefs, because the Chiefs are going to keep going. They're going to put the pedal to the metal. They're going to, especially if that defense is not clicking for the Niners, they're going to put pedal to the metal. They're not going to honestly, I thought the Lions let up in the second half because they thought the game was over. You had players on the side. Well, who was the guy that was waving goodbye to the crowd at halftime right before halftime?
CJ Gardner. CJ Gardner.
Yeah. And 45 minutes later, he got his head down on the sideline because he knew it was too early to do that. Yeah. You don't do that because that never ends up well when you do that. It never ends up well.
Agreed.
I'm going to push back. I'm going to push back on the letter. I don't think the Lions let up. I think that we made adjustments in the second half. I do think there were some coaching miscues that Dan Campbell did not. Yeah. I think he made some really egregious coaching miscues. I think you kick a field goal. You don't go for it. Kick a field goal. But that's what their mantra was all year. They had a turnover. And I think that you don't score 27 unanswered points if you let off the wheel, right? I mean, we scored 27 unanswered points. I think again they couldn't run the ball like they did in the second half or in the first half. I think they only ran eight running plays, but the game kind of changed. And I think as I said, butts get tight when you've not been there before. And you have a coach who is all gas, as Robert Saleh says, all gas, no brakes, but they had no brakes. It is all gas. And he should have, he should have made some better decisions. Now, I respect wanting to make sure your team has confidence and you want to do what you've done all year. But again, I think next year they'll learn from this. You kick field goals, you move the scoreboard, right?
For sure.
But I do think that we capitalize off mistakes. Again, you don't score 27 unanswered points. Not by executing, and I think that, and I'm going to push back a little on the Brock Purdy situation. I think, like I say this all the time, I'm in HR. This is what I do for a living. I'm in HR. So we have policies and procedures that are in place to make sure that people execute. Yeah, I'm supposed to execute. Kyle Shanahan put together a game plan or offense, whatever you want to call it, or a system that Brock Purdy has executed better than any quarterback that he's had probably since Matt Ryan. As far as executing in a system.
Agreed.
You have to any like this show. Trey has a system that he has to make this show successful, and he brings on people like yourself, Chris, that helps execute his vision in the system. So when I hear system quarterback, it's not his fault that he executes well within the system. And now as we've seen the last 2 weeks, he has made off-schedule plays when plays break down. He's not been like I love Jimmy Garoppolo, love him to death, but he was able to use his feet to get out of situations, make a throw, make some off-schedule things that were outside of the system. So I just think the narrative of being a system quarterback, what's wrong with executing at a high level in the system that your coach or that your executives have put there? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, I don't think he's a system quarterback. I was speaking to others who think he is. I think he's more than that. I think he's a little more.
I'm sorry. I apologize.
I was saying I think he's a little more than just a game manager, system quarterback. Pretty much all the same thing. I think he's. I think he's more than that because we've seen him. Well, like you said, we saw him 2 weeks ago. He didn't have a great game, but when he needed to make plays, he made plays. You know what I mean? So I think if you're a quarterback that can make the plays when your team needs you to, like when it's on the line and you have to make plays, I think he can do that. And obviously we saw, was it 4 years ago in this same game, when it came down to it late in the game, Jimmy G couldn't make those throws. He was overthrowing guys.
He was.
Or he was. And we saw it all the time with Jimmy G where
getting throws batted down. Yeah, we did.
Get throws batted down, or he would just airmail the ball on a 10-yard slant to a guy across the middle, and it would just be 10 feet above. We saw that with Jimmy G. We don't see that, in my opinion, as often. But no, I think Brock Purdy definitely follows the program like he's supposed to and executes exceptionally. I do. I really do. I mean, he was in the MVP talks for a reason. Now, obviously, I don't think anyone thought he would really win it, but he was in the talks for most of the season for a reason.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I will say this, and Christian knows this already, so this ain't no news to him. Chris, I am one of those people that believe that Brock Purdy is a system quarterback. I respect Brock Purdy, and he has shown me something over the last 2 weeks. I will admit he did things that I needed to see to believe, to know. Like, because I said before the playoffs, I said, can Brock Purdy overcome a deficit in the playoffs? He did it twice. We was up 7 on the 49ers in the fourth quarter, and the Lions were up 24-7 at half, and he overcame a 7-point deficit and beat the Packers in a 17-point deficit and beat the Lions. So he showed me something with that. I thought like it was like, I'm gonna be honest, like Brock Purdy to me is he's a gamer. I'll be real. It's he kind of has intangibles, and I like that. That's good. And I will say this: I do think he's a system quarterback, but I'm gonna give him some credit too. Listen to me on this point. Similar to how I feel like the Niners can't go down, and be down 17-7 or 20-10 to the Chiefs. I also believe in reverse. If the Niners are up 20-10 on the Chiefs or something in this Super Bowl, Brock Purdy is going to be able to make those throws that Jimmy G couldn't make. So I'm going to give him, I think Brock Purdy is significantly better than Jimmy G is. I'm going to tell y'all that right now. He's way better than him. But I also think that, again, there's levels to this. And I feel like Brock Purdy, he is a great, player in that Shanahan system. He's not a great individual player to me necessarily. I think he can play. I want to be clear. I think he can play, but I don't think he is great yet. But I think if they got a lead in this Super Bowl, I think Brock Purdy can definitely bring them home. Does that make sense? He can bring them home. He can bring them home.
It makes sense. But I'm gonna push back a little bit, Trey, as well. So this is where I think that, and I heard this from an executive, like on a podcast or a scout. I was a scout actually, and the reason why a lot of folks, and Keyshawn Johnson says it all the time on Undisputed, the reason why he don't get credit is because of where he was picked, right? Where he was picked. If this was Trey Lance, if Trey Lance was doing the things that Brock Purdy has done, then everybody would be praising Brock, Kyle Shanahan making this pick and everything else. But because so many people missed on him, he was missed on, that was the thing that Kyle said. We got it wrong with him. We got it wrong. We were going about the intangibles, the arm. Like Zach Wilson is a prime example of being drafted off of arm talent versus being drafted off of what you can actually do. You know what I'm saying? And Brock Purdy, for 4 years, played in the Big 12, it's Oklahoma, Texas, all these different schools for 4 years and have all their records, and he's smart. You know what I'm saying? So I think, and not to mention, it's his second year in the league. He came off a major arm surgery. Yeah. He had no offseason last year, guys. He had no offseason. So imagine what he's going to do with the offseason. Imagine what he's going to do when he's able to he's not rehabbing. He's just what are you going to do next year in that offense? You know what I'm saying? What are you going to do next year with an offseason to study? You know what I'm saying?
I think another big part of that as well, why he doesn't get credit, is because many times when a quarterback has so many weapons, if you're not a Tom Brady or a Peyton Manning or a Patrick Mahomes, if you're not one of those guys, if you got a lot of weapons around you, you tend to not get as much credit as maybe you deserve. I think that can be part of it, because once they added McCaffrey, you brought in, arguably, some would say he's the best back in the league, and if not, he's top
absolutely,
three.
yeah,
he ain't the best. He top 3,
absolutely,
for sure.
Once you brought that guy in and you added him to Debo, Ayuk, and Kittle, then it's like, okay, now we have a fully formed offense here. Arsenal, and the quarterback, we're not going to have to just rely on him now. So in that instance, it almost doesn't matter what he does. You know what I mean? He's good. The other guys are going to get a lot of until he gets paid, until he gets his big contract. The other guy, because of where he was drafted, like you said, Mr. Irrelevant, the last pick in the draft, he's going to be downplayed, right? Yeah, he's just going to be downplayed sometimes. It's just going to happen.
And it sucks, guys, because again, me having an HR mindset here, the organization, like my company, TriHealth, is supposed to make sure that I have all the tools around me to do my job efficiently and effectively, right? Yeah. And just like you guys are in your careers, your job or your company is supposed to make sure you have all the tools to be successful. And it just sucks. And I understand that he's making $900,000 a year because he's not making $50 million, that he can be able, the team can put people around. I get all that, but it's not like they went out and got free agents. This all these guys were drafted. Besides McCaffrey and Trent Williams, they drafted all these guys. And Juszczyk, everybody's been drafted. Everybody has been drafted. Everybody's been developed. Everybody in the offense has been drafted and developed, and here we are. So I just really wish that, to your point, Chris, I understand that he will get the flag because of the weapons and his draft position. But the organization did what they were supposed to do. Put weapons around him, for sure, or around the quarterback. And I'm not pushing back on your point, because you're right on that. It just sucks that, from a national media standpoint and pundits and everybody else on God's internet, that they didn't get credit. And I understand that he's a great player. 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 And I understand that he's that he's only assistant because of his weapons. That's what the organization's supposed to do. Put weapons. That's what the issue in Green Bay for years. They ain't going to get wide receivers for Aaron Rodgers, right? And what you said, Trey, they ain't draft receivers for him, ain't get things for him, right? So that was an issue for years. So why are we holding this young man accountable for what the organization was supposed to do in the first place?
Agreed. I agree with that 1,000%, fellas.
I don't understand it. I don't understand when you're supposed to put weapons around him. Yeah.
No, I was gonna say I agree with that. I agree with everything y'all said. I got a couple more minutes. Real quick, can y'all both give me an X factor for the Super Bowl? Like for you, Chris, who you feel like is the X factor, and you can follow up, Christian. Like who you feel like is the X factor for both teams to be able to come away with a win on Sunday?
For me, well, first, like I alluded to earlier, that Niners run defense, they got to get that. And honestly, they haven't been getting a lot of pressure lately. The front four, they haven't been getting pressure like they were, I guess earlier in the season. They just haven't been getting pressure. So that's a big factor for me. The run defense and getting pressure with four, not having to send any extra guys. I don't know what happened. It seems like overnight, I guess when they lost those 3 games in the middle of the season, it seemed like from then on, they got less pressure with the front 4 guys, but they got some dogs up there. I mean, I know Chase Young is not what he was his rookie year. He's had some injuries, but, and he hasn't been with the team that long. I get it. But adding another body like that, a guy that can get after the quarterback, you would just think they should be able to pin their ears back and just go. But it hasn't happened. So if they can get that on track, get that run defense on track, they're in good. They're in a good space. And then also on offense, I think Brandon Ayuk has a big game. I think the Niners probably win this game. I think the Niners win this game.
Brandon Ayuk is your X factor for the Niners.
He's my X factor for the offense, definitely. He's the X factor.
What you got for the other Chiefs? Your X factor.
You said for the Chiefs? I mean, for Mahomes, he spreads it around so much. I don't think necessarily one guy needs a big game, but it's one of those things where you got Travis Kelce, who, before the playoffs is like, oh, he's getting old and he's falling off, and then he comes out in the 3 playoff games, and he's been kind of looking like he's back on track.
Yeah.
So,
for sure.
They got to keep Travis Kelce in check. The Niners do. If Travis Kelce has one of those, 10 reception games, 120 something yards, couple touchdowns, it's going to be a long day. It's just going to be a long day because Mahomes is going to make the plays when it comes time to. Now, it may come down to a situation where we're in a close game and the Niners have the ball late. Now that's on that'll be obviously on the Chiefs defense, but the Mahomes is going to have them, in my opinion, in the game at the least. But if Kelce has one of those games and he just gets off, it's going to be a long day.
For sure.
It's going to be a long day.
Who your X factor for your 49ers, Christian, to win this game? Like one player.
Chase Young. He was called out last week during the Lions game. A lot of people was calling him out on the internet and also with the effort piece. I mean, Bosa's going to do what he does on that other side. And to Chris's point, we haven't been getting pressure, I think, because we did the first couple games. Chase Young was there, but then I think he has kind of regressed back to the rumors of him being kind of takes plays off. And it was evident in the Lions game. Like, I mean, from the first half, that one the defense I recognized. I was like, who is this? Like this defense, we don't get gashed like this. Like
nobody did.
Like I didn't recognize. Like we don't get gashed like this. So I think Chase now second half, Chase Young played a lot better. The whole defense played a lot better second half. Yeah. So I think that I'm gonna say 2 X factors: Chase Young and Ambry Thomas. Ambry Thomas is the left corner that comes in when we I think play a nickel because Demo Lenore goes into the slot. And then Ambry Thomas goes on the outside, and he had a couple of, penalties, especially against the Packers game when was 3rd and forever, and he grabs whoever that was on 3rd and forever. I don't even know how that even happens. So I think that, my defense is the X factor. I'm very confident that we're going to get a lot of dose to Christian McCaffrey. I think there's going to be a lot of dose to Debo. Kittle, I think we're going to be fine. It's the defense. We have to play. We have to crowd Mahomes, make Mahomes uncomfortable. You can't let him scramble. He has to stay in the pocket. We got to get there. We got to take away his first read. So Bosa and Hargrave and Armstead can get in and take care of business. We have to make it uncomfortable for dude. If we can play like we did the first 55 minutes of the Super Bowl of the one 4 years ago, If we could play like that the whole game, this one, he don't have Tyreek Hill. He don't have some of those other weapons he had in 2019. You know, if we can do that, we will win this game. But we can't. Okay. We got to start off fast.
Give me real quick, Christian and Christian, real quick. I gotta run, fellas. Give me your score and Super Bowl MVP.
My score, I'm gonna say 30, 22 Niners. Christian McCaffrey MVP.
What you got, Chris?
I got the Niners. I picked the Niners last year, and we know what happened with the Eagles game. I'm gonna stick with them this year, even though it's hard to go against Mahomes and Reed. But I think the Niners are gonna get it done. 21-19, and I would say McCaffrey is going to be the MVP.
Oh, okay. Y'all both got McCaffrey. I got the Chiefs 28-21, and I got Mahomes obviously winning his third Super Bowl MVP. I think it's gonna be a great game, fellas. For sure. I want to bring y'all on next week because I want to recap the game. I got to get out of here right now, though, but I definitely want to bring y'all back on next week. Christian, we here in the city, man. I'm going to hit you up, man. I might pull up on you for sure and come holler at you, man. And, because it's exciting as a fan when your team in the Super Bowl. So I definitely be in contact with you, man, for sure.
I'm sorry you haven't experienced that since 2010. I'm sorry that you haven't experienced that.
But the thing is, you want to say that, but it's funny, Chris, he's saying that. They didn't win. They didn't went to the Super Bowl and lost. When we go, we win. When we make it, we win. They ain't won in a while. So yeah,
that's true. I mean,
yeah.
I mean, you won in '95 and then winning it 15 years in 2010. So I get it.
Yeah,
I get it.
Yeah.
You know, I understand.
For sure.
So,
thank you. I appreciate you fellas for joining me this afternoon. Like I said, I'm gonna definitely bring you on. We can talk more next week for sure.
Sounds good.
Sure, Trey.
Thank y'all.
Take care, brother.
Okay, appreciate it. Appreciate it, Christian.
Thank you. Appreciate it.